swing and a drive, left field. It's deep. It's gone. Yes. And it is gone. Yes. It is bedlam at the bank. It's one of the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way Doctor made it. His statement slammed up. And the doctor made a sensational play. It was front the foot. Did they score? Fires! Left and ball! Already back again. He's got the and go forward. And he fumbles the football and the Eagles have it.
We welcome you to the Phillies Sports Hour and happy London weekend to everybody. The Phillies are playing the New York Mets in London for a 2-game series. Oh, it's a new thing the MLB is doing. I think this is the third one. And, I mean, it's London weekend. Who else could we have on but the man himself, UK Phillies, Dave Shaw. Dave, how are we?
I'm good. I'm really good, man. I'm excited. It's becoming a dream come true. Been dreaming about it for so long, and now we're on the verge of the London series. The Phils, the Mets, the thousands of Philly fans that are about to descend onto London, and I cannot believe it's here, man.
It's really exciting for us in Philadelphia, and I can't even imagine what's going on with you. And just you as a person, we were talking a little bit before, sir, but first and foremost, this is not live on Saturday. We're pre-recording this a little earlier in the week because this guy's got a lot going on this week, understandably. So, I mean, we were talking earlier how you are up at 11:40 for first pitch, and you don't go to sleep until about 2 after the game. I mean, you function on Philadelphia time in London. I mean, just flashing back, how in the world are you a Phillies fan? Like, how did that all become a thing?
Man, back in 2012, by pure chance, I was back in around the States, and Philly was my last port of call. Long tour, did about 6 months, best time ever, and I got into Philly. Loved the city. Like, I really resembled a lot of where I live over here for me. There was sports crazy, which sold me straight away as well. And where I was staying, I got invited to a game. They had spare tickets, so took them up on the offer. Not knew anything about baseball. No, I knew nothing. I knew of baseball, but didn't know anything about the sport. But I'm a sports fan, so I went along. You know, live sport, you can't beat it. And you know what? The moment I got to the complex out of the Scepter, it was unreal. Nothing like we have back at home with the Wells Fargo, the Link, Citizens Bank Park, Infinity Live, the tailgating. You know, I was sold within 30 seconds of being there. You know, this is my jam. Love this. Got into the ballpark, walked around, got some ribs, some bulls. You know, just that whole experience was just great. Sat down, didn't know what was going on. You know, not a clue, but I was invested. It was a big vibe. It was Chase Utley's first game back of the year. Didn't really know who he was at the time, but he came up to bat. The place goes crazy. I can see Utley in the back of everyone's jersey, so I know he's a big deal from that. He comes up, he hits a home run in his first at bat. It lands meters away from me. Place goes crazy. I'm sold. You know, this is like, wow. The noise was unbelievable. The place was rocking. And yeah, it was a crazy game. I learned the rules as I was going along. Absolutely loved it. The Phils lost, and perhaps a sign of the things to come for the next 10 years. But it was just so much fun. I enjoyed not just the game and learning about the game, but the whole experience of baseball and watching it. And the Phillies themselves and the Phils, and the fan base was so cool. They were so welcoming even on that first game, teaching me the rules, teaching me the hit there. Everybody wanted to tell me about the Phillies. Everyone wanted to tell me about the history of this team and how good they were supposed to be for the next 4 or 5 years. And it never happened. But, that's the Phillies fans. We all live in blind hope. And it was just, I went home, the best time ever. And I learned all about the history, watched the 93 yearbook, the 08, the 07, the 1980 team, and did all the history. And I've been going back every year since.
So that's incredible. And, Philly fans really aren't looked at like that, very welcoming. And, I mean, it's good that you were in a good crowd like that. A great game for your first game, too, at least first game back. Yeah. How have you just kept going with this Philly? Because it's not easy staying up crazy late every night watching the Phillies, and especially over the last 10 years with a lot of disappointment. It's got to be tough, but you've been able to do it every single night since 2012. So this is 12 seasons now. How do you do it?
Do you know what everyone says? Oh, those 10 years, no playoffs must have been tough. And I'm still in my freshman years. I'm still learning the game, so it's still exciting for me. I'm still getting a kick out of the home runs in the empty ballpark as it was at the time, and Dominic Brown coming through, and Nick Williams, and Aaron Altair, and Ben Revere, and those names that when they first come through, you're thinking, oh, these guys are going to lift us back up, and it was towards the end, 2019, 2020. It got tough. I was running out of patience because everyone kept saying to me the whole time, oh, wait till the Phils get the playoffs. Then you'll see these players come alive. And I heard it for 8 years nonstop. And I'm like, is this ever going to happen? And then, lo and behold, it was worth the wait for the last 2 years. This year has been incredibly tough. Usually at this time of the season, the Phils never start well. So usually I will pick and choose what games I'll stay up for. Usually the weekend games at this stage of the season. I don't want to burn myself out too much. With the Phils going so hot this year, I get serious Phillies FOMO. I don't intend to even watch half the games I do, but it gets nearer to the first pitch, and I'm like, I'll stay up and watch the first inning or two, and then it gets to the third, the fourth, and I'm like, the Phils are just playing so damn good. I can't not watch. Now I have to watch till the end. Usually the games finish at 2:00. The West Coast games, I'll usually give a swerve. They don't start till 3, and it's too early in the season for that. But the home games, genuinely, unless I'm working the next day pretty early, then I'll have to miss them. But the weekend games I've watched, I think I've only missed 6 games this season, including the West Coast games. I've ended up waking up and setting an alarm for them. So after London, I probably have to slow down a little bit and sort of save myself for the parts of the season that really matter. But the ride so far, and this team keeps you going. Everybody. It's not just myself; it's the other crazy fans this side of the pond as well, we're all up in the group chat watching the games, messaging at 1, 2 in the morning. Just there's nothing like it. That whole experience in itself is so cool and unique.
It is must-see TV right now with this Phillies team, and it has its pros and its cons. But I mean, I think you've watched more games than I have, and you live on the other side of the world. So I mean, that's pretty cool. You run UK Phillies on Twitter, Instagram. I mean, I believe Twitter's your biggest, right?
Yeah. Twitter was the first. Well, Facebook group was first, and Twitter came shortly after in 2017. Insta's only been going for 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, so I mean, you're thousands of followers or 100 followers away from 21,000 on Twitter. You've been doing it forever. I mean, how did the account start? Because you've once you do that, you're all in. You got to commit to it, and you obviously have. How did that start? How have you been able to preserve it and build it up into a mainstream Phillies must-follow account?
Man, it's sometimes I even look back myself and pinch myself and go, how has this even happened? 2017, I started it because we were so bad at the time. And those
were some fun years. Michael Franco, Cesar Hernandez.
Oh, we were. Yeah, I love those guys. But
so you said 2012. I was 4 in 2012, so I started watching. Probably 2015, 16. So we're kind of around the same time. Yeah, we have our guys, Franco, Aaron Altair. Like, those are our guys.
Exactly. And that's why Reese meant so much, because he also came along at that point and then was often the shining star in those. But there has to be other fans in the UK that I can talk to the Phillies about. I'm watching it for about 6-7 years at this point, like not really able to talk to anyone else about baseball, and sort of like kept it to myself. And it's like 'cause you need to vent at these tough years. You need to vent to someone. You need to get it out of your system. It's like there's got to be other people going through this as well, around staying up at stupid hours doing what I'm doing. And I set the Facebook group up first, just reaching out, and and lo and behold, there was a lot of people. There was quite a few expats over here and people wanting to do the same. So that was good. And then I started Twitter shortly after and just sort of reached out, replying to people, a lot of interaction. I just wanted to talk Phils at the time, and just happened to be a UK fan. I thought, I'll run a UK Phillies fan group and try and round up all the British fans and try and grow the fan base. And from what it's become from them to now has been unreal. I don't know myself why. I just try and stay on the positive side of things. If the Phillies lose, that's it. I log off complete social media. I don't take losses very well. Even when we're hot like this, the losses still bother me. I win and die with this team. When we lose, I just want to go to bed. I don't want to. I can't bother to post. For me now, where this account is, I want to keep growing the Philly fan base and the sport in this country. So I like to keep it positive, show the big plays, keep it interactive, keep it fun, which is the best way of attracting fans and just showing the Philly passion, which I feel I have and replicate, as well as the real, the diehard Philly fans back in Philadelphia.
Yeah, the account is, if you're not already following, the link is in the description of the YouTube video to go follow UK Phillies on Twitter. Yeah, and you mentioned all the Phillies fans in the UK. Well, there were already a lot of Eagles fans over there because of the princess and her jacket. So people were going to Philadelphia. And as you see in the city of Philadelphia when you came over, it's like everybody, you're an Eagles fan, you're a Phillies fan. You're not an Eagles and Yankees fan, you're Eagles and Phillies. And that is, I guess that holds true in London.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. And, the Eagles have a huge fan base over here, really, really big. And the NFL is a far more watched sport than baseball is over here. And, not just actually, it's the number one most watched in the UK, US sport. And it's well up there now with one of the biggest sports watched in the UK, the amount of games we have over here. And there are a ton of Eagles fans. And a lot of them are also now converting to the Phils as well. Again, a lot of them didn't know much about baseball or the Phillies, but with the Phillies getting hot, and that helps obviously massively. And people are getting caught up with the whole Red October vibe and the team being so fun, and it's got people on board and kept people on board. And you're right, so many people here in the UK are Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, Union, just like everybody else over there in Philly in the States. And the passion's just the same. We just as crazy as people will find out on this weekend, and it's growing. It's growing massively. The fan base. A lot of Eagles fans coming over and switching over during the summer to the Phillies and back to the Eagles in the autumn. And yeah, a lot of flip flopping, and just like it is in Philly. And that connection between ourselves over here in UK and the States I think is very close.
It'll be great sports over there, of course, and where you're at, of course, the football or soccer, as we call it here in the States. And, they got cricket's a UK thing as well, right?
Yeah. Cricket's big, rugby. The UK and Europe is sports massive. UK especially if England and the home nation teams are doing well at any sport, everybody will latch onto it. And with Team GB doing so well in the World Baseball Classic last year, that was massive for this country. That really got mainstream media. Got people talking about it. It made the papers. It got onto the website, BBC website. Got onto the news, and it was a really good leap forward for baseball in the UK in general, and hopefully we can keep that going as the Phils themselves have got a British player in AA in Gabriel Rincones. He's played for Great Britain a few times already. He was injured during the Baseball Classic, unfortunately, but he is set to play again for GB and possibly, maybe, who knows, be the first British player to represent GB for the Phillies themselves. Who knows? He's had a good year so far. So, things like that really do help, again, grow the sport over here.
I'm sure. And something else, you mentioned the growing and the Philadelphia fan base in the UK. There's a bar out in London, past Young Avenue. I'm sure that there's people went there when the Eagles were in London a few years ago. It's going to be absolutely slammed this weekend, obviously with the Phils in town. Tell me about the bar. You've been to Philadelphia, so you know what it's like. How much does the bar resemble the city? And it's going to be electric down there this weekend.
Yeah, there's 3 of them now. So in 2018, There was the OG site in Fitzrovia. They've branched out to Waterloo and to Battersea. It is a home from home for Philly natives and Philly sports fans, and it's now renowned in London, all 3 of them, for the place to watch American sports, let alone the Phillies. They are all 3 very different sites. I'd say the Waterloo one, the biggest one, is your very typical Delco dive bar theme, dark, big screen showing the sports, decked out in Philly memorabilia from all the sports. Then you've got the OG at Fitzrovia, a little bit smaller, and upstairs, downstairs being the Nick Foles bar, all decked out in Eagles memorabilia and flyers. Upstairs is just every Philly sports, including college, university, everything that Philly stands for, plastered all over the walls. It's like a neat little side street sort of cafe bar type sort of place. Really cool. And then the new one at Battersea is more of a diner sort of vibe, a little bit tidier, if you like. But again, decked out in Phillies, and all 3 are going to be absolutely packed with Philly fans. And it's a great place, even, aside from this London series. You can always go there at any time of year and bump into people from the Philly area who are there on vacation or happen to be working or studying. And, the best thing about this place, these 3 bars, are that, people over from America and Philly who may have come on their own have made so many friends who happen also to be from Philly as well. And I love going there and just chatting to people who are from Philly and talk about Philly. And it's just literally like a home from home. And yeah, this weekend we've got events planned from the Wednesday all the way to the Monday. A lot of special guests coming, some Philly alumni coming down. WIP are broadcasting on the Friday and the Monday from the sites. A lot of events, a lot of fun, and a lot of late nights.
It's going to be a long couple of days for you, my friend. Yeah. Baseball has been to London a few times. This is the 3rd time, right? So the first time it was Yankees, Red Sox.
Yep.
And then last year it was Cardinals, Cubs, right?
Yep.
I mean, Cardinals, Cubs versus Phillies, Mets is a little crazy to me. But anyway, so you've been around where there's a lot of, Americans, New Yorkers, Boston, whatever, coming to London to watch. I don't know if you've attended any of the games.
Yeah, I've been to all of them, yeah.
So the baseball in London, what have your experiences been at London Stadium with other fan bases, and just kind of like a deep debrief of what you have seen over the last 2 times that they've done this event?
Yeah, first of all, a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun. It's not just the games that MLB bring over. It's the whole razzmatazz that comes with baseball. They do a fantastic job. And this year, in particular for the Phils and Mets, they've just raised the bar to a whole new level with what they're having planned. But Boston, Red Sox, Yankees, that was fun. As a neutral, sat there, not really liking either team. I didn't really care who won. I was there to have a few drinks and just chat baseball to anybody who would listen to meet more Philly fans. But it was a great atmosphere. That rivalry is quite intense. I think, again, what we'll see this weekend for the Phils and Mets. That was sort of
that sorry to cut you off, but that Yankees Red Sox, that first game, it was like 20-15 or something. It was a crazy game.
That was crazy. That was I think game one went on for 4 hours, and it felt like an expedition match. And sort of baseball had a bit of work to do from that. MLB had a bit of work to do from those two games. And then they came back, and baseball was in a great place in the country after that. COVID hit and knocked away all the momentum completely. And Cubs and Cards came back last year. They sort of extended the parameters and the dimensions of the field, which helped massively. Cubs Cards felt like a proper game. This is more like it, not the slugfest, but you saw some great pitching, some great hitting, some great fielding. It felt like a real game. The intensity of the rivalry wasn't quite there compared to the Yankees Red Sox. And again, what we'll probably get this weekend. I sat with a whole load of Cubs fans. I think Cubs easily out-traveled the Cardinals fans. And it was a lot of fun. Again, I sat with people from Illinois behind me and in front of me, and great just to chat to them. And they were having the best time. In between innings, there's always stuff going on. The mascot race, some quirky stuff happening on the field. The entertainment is nonstop from the start till the end. You've got both anthems, the British and American anthem before the games as well. Outside the stadium, there's tons going on. Yes, there's no tailgating, but they make up for that. And you've got tons of bars and pubs around the vicinity anyway. Anyone who's been to the sort of national stadium, it's similar to that. You've got all your bars and your eateries around there. Well, imagine that all the way around the stadium. And the vibe's unbelievable, mate. It's like the best way I can describe it is like a festival of baseball. It really is like a festival atmosphere. I think this weekend it's going to be fun. For the first time, they've got these Philly zones and Met zones outside the stadium for two fans like congregate in and check out. And then inside the stadium, it seems to be for the first time that the majority of Philly fans seem to be basing themselves behind the bullpen and the Phillies dugout and the Mets the other side. So you're going to have that sort of soccer atmosphere to it all, and you're going to get the pantomime boos from the Mets fans for Chase and our players. We're going to get back to the Mets. You've got two fan bases coming over who travel so well wherever they go. There's thousands and thousands. They're already in London, and we're talking now on Tuesday. I'm already getting tons of pictures from Philly fans already in London right now, and Mets fans, and people saying, "Matt, it's crazy here already." It's only we're still 4 days away, and London's already crazy. And that's just going to ramp up from the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday until we get to the games themselves. It's just so much fun. And anyone who is watching this, who's here probably when this goes out will be here. It's just going to be enjoy every minute of it, because it's going to be an experience like no other.
It sure will be. That Yankees Red Sox game, the first ever game in London, the final. Yankees won that game 17-13.
Right, that's right. Yep.
The game was 4 hours and 42 minutes. And you want to hear who the third base umpire was that night?
Angel Hernandez.
It was Angel Hernandez.
He got booed and booed the whole game.
So it's really like America if we're booing the umpires too.
Yeah, and we had a feeling that Angel would be traveling for this as well. But thankfully, he's announced his retirement because he came last time as well. So he's quite relieved that he's not here.
Maybe he's got his visa all hooked up and ready to go for every for the games, and they just needed him to go. But good thing you won't have to deal with that this time. So this is obviously a special thing, as you mentioned multiple times, the Phillies going to London, the amount of times that you have traveled to the States and all the time you've spent and money you have spent watching the Phillies. And now they're coming to your home, and you're going to be the home fan. It's awesome to watch this happen for you and to hear your story. But what does this mean to you? Be selfish with me for a second. How special is it for you? And just what does it mean to you? The Phillies are playing in your home now.
Yeah, you know what? I get a variety of emotions. You want me to be personal about it. It's special. It's surreal, and still is, even talking now 4 days before the game. Sometimes a little bit emotional, like, damn, this is happening. This means everything to me on a personal level. This is up there with what's going to be one of the greatest weekends. Regardless, and you know what? Regardless of the score, you know, I need us to sweep the Mets. I need us to beat the Mets. I want us to win both games. But the occasion, just what this week has in store for me, and the things I've got planned, and how tirelessly myself and a lot of other people behind the scenes have been working with the events and the things that we have planned for this week. Yeah, I say tirelessly. It's been tiring, but it's been a lot of fun as well. It's special. The best way I can describe it right now is it's special. I'm ready for it. I'm leaving. Well, as we record this, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I just want to get there. I just want to join the Phillies fans already there. I can't wait to meet so many people as well. And every time I've been to Philly since the very start, everyone has been the most welcoming. The hospitality has been unreal, you know, and I've always said, oh, if there's a way I can ever repay you guys for how nice you've been, even the people that I bumped into at the ballpark who have bought me drinks, bought me food, stop me to have a picture and to say hello and talk Phillies, even just for like 30 seconds. It really always means a lot to me. And I've always wondered before this, like, how can I ever repay these people? And as soon as this got announced, it's like, well, this is the perfect time, you know? So everyone's coming to my Jawn, and it's my turn to host everybody and my turn to pay a little bit back for the amazing hospitality they've shown me. So I've sort of taken it upon myself to really go out my way and really help, like with all these video vlogs I've been doing of London and the London series and these helpful guides, and everybody who has DM'd me, I've literally tried to respond to every single one. And I've been flooded at times. It's been like a part-time job at times, but again, so much fun, and just trying to help everybody who reaches out. And then this weekend, talking to everybody, just trying to repay Philly fans for how they've been to me. And not just me, you know, everyone that comes over from the UK has said nothing but nice things about Philly fans and the Philly people when we're over there, whether at the ballpark or just in the city and around Philly in general. The amazing thing about Philly fans is it doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you're there to respect the city, the people, and try to want to get involved in it and not be an idiot about it, then you're going to go a long way, you know. And I think the Philly people respect that. And you know, it's my turn. It's my turn to play host, and I'm honestly, the best way to put it is I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to be like a kid on Christmas Day for the next 4 days coming.
Oh, that was pretty perfect description of if you're coming to Philadelphia, just don't be an idiot.
Right.
And you'll get some respect. It's cool. And the people you have met in this process, there's been videos with you and the guy who you saw in your first Phillies game and his first game back, Chase Utley. You've collaborated with him, some other athletes. I'm sure you have so much planned coming up. What can we see from you? And what was it like meeting the man, Chase Utley?
I've said the word already, surreal, but that's exactly how it was. You know, I don't usually get nervous about doing interviews and this sort of stuff, but when Chase turned up in that taxi, my heart was racing. Like, I was getting sweaty. I was inside. I was freaking out a little bit, you know, and I didn't want to fanboy too much inside. I really do, but you know, you try and play it cool. And yeah, he was amazing. He was, you know, as soon as I got in the back of the taxi, and we were doing some filming for London series at MLB, and he was just the most nicest, genuine, open, humble guy that I've ever come across. Just a normal guy who was happy to be there, happy to ask me questions as well. And, you know, we had about 2.5 hours in the taxi in the end with all the filming and stuff. And he, you know, honestly just went out his way to answer every question. And just to get to know Chase on a bit of a personal level was quite special, you know, to when the cameras weren't rolling, to ask him just questions about family life and just, you know, about Chase himself, you know, and how he's finding London, what he's been up to and the family, and, you know, and then him asking me questions about my personal life. It was nice just to have that moment and get to know Chase on more of a personal level as well. And that was, you know, that was a day that will forever be special to me. And, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing him in London in a couple of days. And yeah, he's going to be swamped this weekend. You know, that he's going to be in so many places at so many times, and the fans are obviously going to be wanting to get a glimpse, and he's going to be at Trafalgar Square doing the big takeover and on the Friday night. So that's going to be absolutely packed. And yeah, he has done wonders already for the sport in this country, just being the ambassador.
He better not lose that home run derby to Daniel Murphy. That
Cannot
would maybe be the most embarrassing moment in Phillies history.
We can't take any L's to the Mets in anything this weekend. We can't even this home run derby. We can't lose this. The games we can't lose. The fans, we need to out noise, out sing them, out just noisiest fans. Just we can't take any L's to the Mets this weekend.
Well, with how the Mets season has been going so far, I wouldn't want to spend all the money and come to London to see them get their what kicked by Philadelphia in every aspect of the game. Now, you talked about it a little bit, but for those coming to London, what should they expect atmosphere-wise, experience-wise, stadium-wise? I mean, it's not a baseball stadium.
No.
What should people expect?
Not at all. The conversion, though, you wouldn't think anything else. Honestly, the job they do, and I was lucky enough to be there last month, and the locker rooms are actually there all year round. They can't use the same locker rooms as the soccer, the football, because they're too small. So they build these locker rooms. They're there all year. They basically just change it into, they've had it down Philly Mets branded since December. And they're massive. They're absolutely huge, right by home plate. And when you get there, you just wouldn't think it was a soccer stadium, and it's only used for soccer when West Ham United play there. When they're not there, it's used for baseball, big concerts. Foo Fighters are there a week after this. They've got Monster Jam there. They've got World Athletic Championships going back there as well. So it literally is a multi-purpose stadium. There it is. Yeah, so you wouldn't think it was the job they do is unbelievable. Like last year was fantastic. They extended the outfield. They put these runoffs sort of there, as you can see, either side of the dugouts. So last year they weren't, Red Sox, Yankees, they weren't there, and they sort of rotated the field a bit more. They did a fantastic job, and the viewpoints as well from around the stadium are excellent. Even high up in the upper tier, right opposite, you still had a really good view. Like I said before, there's so much going on around the stadium as well. The atmosphere is fantastic, and Philly fans, they've been fantastic this year. Citizens Bank Park has been packed day in, day out, even on these cold Tuesday nights in April and May. The noise has been unreal. We got to bottle that up and bring it over here to London and do exactly the same, and bring the noise, bring the energy, bring the vibes. Because, it's our chance to show the world that why we're the best fans in the world, and that's something, again, I'm looking forward to doing, getting the Alec Bohm chant going off. It's going to be, I think, more a Philly takeover. Mets fans are going to be in their thousands as well, but I think the Philly fans travel so well. They know how to have a good time. And when we get inside that stadium, it's going to be pretty loud, especially if we can jump on the Mets early on and really get behind them. I think Bryce is going to have his showman moment like he always does in such occasions. Looking like Suarez will pitch. It's looking more and more likely. So that's fantastic. I cannot believe I'm going to get to see Ranger pitch in London. And even Walker, just seeing these guys, all these guys going out there, seeing Alvarado, seeing Matty Strahm doing his thing. He should be an all-star this year himself. Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, JT. It's just a shame about Marsh, real shame about Marsh, but it's going to be exciting, honestly. And the noise is good. Cubs cars last year was loud. It got really loud, and the neutrals and the people who were also there for the first time, because you're going to have that. You're going to have Philly fans, Mets fans, and thousands of them, but also thousands of fans from supporting different teams. You're going to see every jersey there. And minor league jerseys, national teams from over here in the UK jerseys, World Baseball Classics from Italy, Netherlands, down in Israel, Germany, all over Czech Republic, all over Europe. It's such an international feel and event. And the neutrals get sucked up and sucked into it as well and get involved. I found myself, I was sat around with the Cubs fans, so I was joining in with the Cubs cheering, and it does get loud. The big players get big ovations. Stolen bases got big ovations. You generally would feel you are at a baseball game. I thought the atmosphere at London Sphere was better than a lot of baseball games. Obviously not Phillies, but just your average game of like Royals and Twins, and it far beat that atmosphere. You're gonna have 66,000 at both games, which is it's going to be loud, and the roof is sort of enclosed because obviously unlike ballparks in America, except the indoor ones, but this one is, you've got the best of both. You've got a big roof sort of overhanging that keeps the noise in, but you've also got it outdoors as well. Weather's good, which is the main thing. The weather's going to be really nice, low 70s, high 60s. You can't ask better.
That is perfect weather for baseball. And I was looking at the roof. It could be a little tricky because if the sun, they're both afternoon games over there, right? Because it's 1:10 and 10:10 here.
Yeah, 6 o'clock is 6 o'clock on Saturday, 3:15 on the Sunday, but the sun is usually high and around the behind home plate, so that the batters will be fine.
Okay, so there may be a little bit of a shadow maybe for the 6 o'clock game, but nothing crazy like that we see sometimes.
It doesn't start getting dark here now. It's about 9:30, 10 o'clock. It gets dark here quite late. We're at the peak of June, so peak of daylight saving. So, it's only just, what time is it here? 10 o'clock as we talk now. It's only just really started to get dark. So it should all be played in daylight as well.
Well, that's a good thing. And for those who are thinking of going, but don't have their tickets yet, well, and you want to experience this, well, you can get your tickets on SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a ticket buying app. It's the most efficient and easy way to buy your tickets. All you got to do, download the SeatGeek app, and at checkout, use code Phillies Sports Report to save $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Again, PHILLYSPORTSREPORT to save $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Be a part of that crazy crowd that's going to be down there at London and cheer on the Phils and not the Mets. And if you are going down there to cheer on the Phils, you're going to have some pitching matchups that could maybe be in your favor, especially game one with Rangers. Suarez projected to go out there. He got hit by a comeback on his left and his throwing hand on Saturday. He's doing better. Threw a little bit Tuesday, which is when we're recording this. Had a catch. He's having a bullpen on Wednesday. He's in play for London. If Rangers not able to go, God forbid, which it looks like he is, and that's going to be awesome, do you go with Spencer Turnbull?
Yeah, absolutely. What a great. Ideally, we'd like to see Wheeler. Obviously, I know he doesn't go well with extra days rest, but I think Top has told him to suck it up, really, and get on with it. Top is very adamant that we're not shifting. Spencer Turnbull, let's not forget, before he moved to the bullpen, he was also in the top 15 of nearly every pitching category as well. If it was still him in the rotation and not Walker, then we would have all 5 Philly starters in the top 20 of pretty much every pitching stats going right now. I know the bullpen role doesn't really suit him, but it is what it is, and what a luxury we actually have that our main concern is Spencer Turnbull playing the long role in the bullpen, and our 5th starter, Taijuan Walker, hasn't got going yet. I'd go with Turnbull. It's not going to be Wheeler, it's not going to be Nola. I think Top will want to rest those arms for as long as possible. It makes sense throwing Turnbull in, and Taijuan Walker needs a game time. I don't know how many games he has left to really prove himself. He must have 3 or 4 left to really show it. He has got it. So it's a no-brainer to throw him out there and keep giving him the game time and see if he has got it or not.
Yeah, he will go in game 2. The former Met will go against the Mets in London. You mentioned a little bit of your thoughts on Taijuan Walker. You said you have 3 or 4 games left. You look at Walker, and the word I have used to describe him is just uninspiring. You're trying to find something to dig from him in these starts, and I'm just having trouble finding anything that can get me behind the guy. And I am a proponent for Spencer Turnbull. I liked the signing when they first got him. And throwing him back in this rotation, I just don't know if or when it may happen. I like the idea of 3 or 4 games, but a $20 million contract per year, I don't know if they can really do it.
Yeah, Dombrowski's done a lot of things right. I think the Taijuan Walker contract's probably the one which was in hindsight. Now, of course, it's all hindsight. At the time, we thought Walker, he started the season very well last year as well. I get what you mean by uninspiring. He's not. When Walker goes out, you're thinking, if you cannot allow 4 runs and go 5 innings, I suppose we'll take it. But you also have to remember that he's a 5th starter and sort of gives you what you expect to get out of a 5th starter. It's also, again, the fact that Taijuan Walker's probably our main concern right now, that how good the season's going this year. That Taijuan Walker's been dragged out every 5 days, 6 days. I get it. Turnbull's a veteran arm. We can't burn him out, halfway through the season. We saw it at Kimbrel, last year. First half, fantastic, all-star. Second half, his arm blew off, and that was that. And I suppose in the back of their mind, they do have that with Turnbull as well. They would like to limit what he does and have him fresher for the end of the season. And Walker is effectively eating innings. That's basically what he's doing. He's a 5th starter. He's eating innings. Yeah, uninspiring, but doing what a 5th starter does, allows the 3-4 runs, goes 5-6 innings. It's kind of 5th starter stuff. I can't help Phil's might make a move in the trade deadline and bring in another back end starter and keep Turnbull in the position they're in now. Again, just the fear of trying to keep his arm fresh for postseason. I don't think Walker makes the postseason at all anyway. I'd like him to turn it around. Don't get me wrong. He's a Philly. I'll get behind any Philly, and I'd like to see him turn around. He started last year. He was fantastic. He kept somehow giving up 3-4 runs and real struggle early in the games, and would still be in the game in the 7th inning. He does know how to eat the innings, and he has come. He had no spring. He missed the first month of the year. He has come back. This is still effectively spring training for Taijuan Walker, and I think they're still giving him that leeway in the team. How long this lasts for, we'll see. But effectively, I think he has just been used as a sort of opener and inning eater. And we'll see what happens at deadline. I think they'll give Walker till the trade deadline, and then we'll see where we are from there. But yeah, uninspiring, but sort of what you expect. He's not a 3rd starter anymore. He was brought in as a 3rd starter. He's now a 5th starter and probably got 3-4 games to really prove that the signs there that he's going to kick back to where he should be, or he'll be, I think, would eat the contract, to be honest, and they will do something at a deadline.
Yeah, we'll see what happens then. And I ask you a little bit about the deadline. Something came out, I think it was ESPN, that they are in for an offensive outfielder, Luis Robert, Kyle Tucker, Randy Rosarena. I mean, big names being thrown out there. The Phillies' production from their outfield hasn't been there, especially from center and right field. I don't know if they are really able to trade Castellanos or trade Rojas and get a big bat in the outfield. Do you think they will do something like that? And I think Kyle Tucker would be the best fit out of the 3.
Yeah, Tucker, I'd actually really like. I think Tucker makes a lot of sense to the Phillies. The thing is with this, you can never second guess Dave Dombrowski, and you can never second guess what the Phillies do. Phillies are renowned for keeping their cards very close to their chest. Usual leaks that come out are never accurate with the Phillies. You find everyone's teed up. Everyone thought we would get Blake Snell in the offseason and Montgomery. And you know what? Looking back, thank God we didn't, because both of them are having terrible seasons so far and struggling with injury and health. Robert, I just don't see where he fits because his bat's good. I think he'll be better once he gets out the White Sox again. The potential's there, but he'll give you that big bat. But defensively, Rojas is and Patrick are very good defensively. Two young players. I think there is going to come a point where one of them's going to someone's going to have to give, and one of them probably will have to go. And they will probably evaluate what they get for who, and is it worth it? I'd like to see Rojas stay. I really would. any production with the bat out of Rojas is a bonus for that defense that he brings. And we can't lose that because he gets to plays and makes plays that nobody else can make. I would, unless it was a really good return, I really don't want us to get rid of Rojas. Pache, if we got anything with Pache, that's a bonus. Remember, he was a free agent, and a free agent when he came in was sort of like a win-win situation. You know, there was no expectation on Pache, and the fact that he has given us some good production with the bat and in defense as well, and now has some value. I think the Phils can turn a tiny little profit on Pache and put him in a trade package somewhere, but we can't. I don't think we can keep platooning these two. I think something will give long term. Cassie's an interesting one. I don't know. I think any move for Cassie at the end of the season, if there was going to be anything, I can't see it happening mid trade deadline. I don't know. I would rather we address the pitching. I think our defense and offense is fine. I really would like us to bolster up on the pitching. If David Dahl continues to impress, well, we've got depth there as well, and Witt's been disappointing, but I get where Topper's coming from. He's an everyday player who, the more he plays, the better he gets. And he's in this position where he's not getting the everyday starts. It is frustrating to see Witt struggling, but he's a veteran player. And, he's one of these players that once he gets on that role, he will then come good. But he's in a difficult position being on the bench. But I think we have the depth offensively. As again, these guys stepping up, Clemens stepping up, Dahl stepping up. So not only have we got a great bench, we've also got players in the minors who we know can step up and do a job already. So I would rather us look at the pitching and just bolster that bullpen, just bolster that back end of the rotation. And we should have enough to go deep into October and possibly first week of November.
Possibly. And if there is a parade, are you coming in?
Absolutely. I always save time off work every year for the possibility of it happening. And this year, I just feel so strong that there's something special brewing with this team. They've all got a chip on their shoulder. They all the quotes in spring and throughout all season is, if we don't win the World Series, it's a failure. And that's a lot of pressure to put on themselves, but it's also fighting talk. It gets the fans fired up. It gets us all excited. And they're backing it up out there right now. This start has just been phenomenal, for this team to start like this when we've been so poor the last few years, starting in April and May. We're in June. We've just really put to bed the Cardinals, who came into this series real hot. People forget that the Cardinals team, although they look very bang average against us, were red hot when they came into Citizens Bank Park. As we speak now, we got a good first win against the Brewers. We should win this series well. That's a Brewers team that are well over 10 over 500, who have played some really, really good baseball this year, despite their injuries. I think these two series right now, as we talk, we should beat the Brewers. I would like to think we can at least take the next two games. That's a statement right there. We've beaten two. We would have beaten two. I'm banking on us winning this, so I don't sound stupid, but it's a statement of beating two really good teams, and bouncing back from a disappointing West Coast series. And the way we've done that, again, it's another tick. Can the Phils bounce back from a disappointing road trip and have a stumbling block? Well, yeah, they beat the Cardinals. About to should be, as this goes out, the Brewers. And again, it's just another big tick. We're beating teams over 500, tick. Well over 500, tick. NL Central divisional leaders, tick. The big tests come when we go out there and the Yankees get series on the horizon. That I'm looking forward to that one already. But even still, bring those games on. This team can, bring them on. Let's test us. Let's see where we really are.
Yeah, the Phils are certainly a wagon right now. And you mentioned the teams above 500. The Phillies are 17-6 as of after Monday night's win. They're 17-6 against teams that either have a winning record or would have a winning record if not for their losses to the Phillies.
Yep.
So that says a lot when you're looking at how easy, with quotes around that, the schedule has been to start and how they've been able to handle them.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't like all this. I don't really get involved too much in all this easy schedule. We all play the same. You've got to beat what's in front of you. And the fact that not only have Phillies been beating these teams, but also sweeping these teams, which is something we got 7 sweeps, I think, all of last year. We're at 7 already this year. We should have had more. We should have really swept that Cardinals series. There's been other series that we should have swept earlier on in the year as well. So we're not only just beating these teams like series wins, and now the Braves are also showing that, it's not so easy against the teams below 500. But the way the Phils are doing it, they're winning these ball games in every type of way. Short ball, pitching, defense. Defense in that game last night against the Brewers was outstanding. The 1-2-3 double play, the Rojas throw to gun down Reese. The infield on the whole looks solid. Wow, what a contrast to this team that was defensively terrible just 2-3 years ago. Remember 2022, we went and started that year, everyone's going, the defense is terrible. Terrible defense. They won't get anywhere. Look at us now, just a year and a half later. Same with the pitching, same with the bullpen. We are so good in so many areas that, we're putting these teams we should be beating to bed. Nobody else is, apart from the Yankees, who also look like a juggernaut in the AL. Apart from that, the Braves are showing that, it's not that easy. The Dodgers have struggled at times against teams below 500, and let's be honest, there's not many teams that good and above 500 anyway.
No, I was talking to someone about this recently, how the teams that are above 500, that's where all the talent is. The talent isn't spread out around the MLB anymore. It's really just on those juggernauts like the Phillies, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Braves. The teams of the Brewers don't have a crazy amount of talent, but they're one of those few teams that are still well above 500 playing great baseball, but don't have all the talent.
Don't write the Brewers off because they got so many injuries. If they start getting those injuries back, the Brewers, especially their pitching, start of the year, they looked really good before their injuries went down. So this is a good win against the Brewers. This is a good win at the moment against the Brewers.
It is, and hopefully you didn't just jinx us, but we.
I know. I'm very nervous, actually.
Yeah, but something that doesn't make me nervous, Dave, is when I order from Foco, I know I'm getting some absolutely legendary gear. Real fans need the best gear, and that's why Foco makes legendary gear for the most legendary fans. Click on the link in the description or the bio to save 10% off any Foco ordered. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of Foco in London this weekend. You're going to see some overalls, some funny hats, and some Foco's got great stuff. Let's wrap this show up. Let's bring it home. Let's look at this weekend. Phillies, Mets. The Phillies have played well against the Mets. They had that one series where it was the 4-game home and home. Phillies won that series 3-1. They probably should have won that last game, but it's hard to beat a team 4 games in a row. This time it's a 2-game series. The first one is a Mets home game. The second one is a Phillies home game. How do you see this series filling out for the Phils?
Man, even when we're playing over there back home in Philly and New York, I can never predict these series because they're wild. This for the MLB, this is a great series to bring to London because they're so unpredictable. Chaos always ensues in one way or another. You always get some sort of quirky thing happening. You get some of the dumbest baseball between these two teams. You get some of the best. And for MLB marketing point, it's absolutely excellent. And for the neutrals as well this weekend, it being in London as well, something's going to happen. Something that can only happen between these two teams. At the end of the day, and the bottom line, being serious for a minute, we got to sweep this. We got to take care of business. This is a bad Mets team who just seem to keep Metsing and Metsing and Metsing. On the flip side of that, they're a team coming into this with no pressure. They're out of New York. They got nothing to lose. They're a massive underdog, and the Mets would love nothing more than to come into this game being as down as they could, and everybody writing them off and upsetting the Phillies and taking a win off us. That's something I'm nervous about. Will the pressure be off them now they're out of New York? Having said that, this Phils team is just so much better in every aspect than this Mets team, barring some sort of stupid anomaly, which actually usually does happen in this series. We should sweep this. I am very confident, especially with now Ranger looking set to go on the Saturday. These Philly players, from what I'm hearing from so many people, who have access to the locker room and have spoken to the players, these guys are up for this. This is a big deal for them as well. They're traveling to London. They're getting to do something special for the Phillies and for MLB. They're on the international stage, on the worldwide stage. They're up for this. They are really up for this. The Phillies themselves have gone all out for this London series with the marketing, the promo, the fanatic. The Mets have done absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And probably you can see why. They've been a car crash this year and the last year and a half. But the Phils are really going all out for this. And I genuinely feel that we're going to sweep this. And these two games are just going to be part of the magic of what this season has been so far and what is going to be.
I certainly hope so. And with the Phillies marketing, they gave away the bus, the double-decker bus that I was actually.
Yeah, I got one in the post yesterday.
Now I went to the game and I'm not under 14, but they still were able to give me one, so I kind of scammed my way into that one. And then they're giving away the sunglasses on Wednesday, the final game before they travel to London. Right now, the Phillies are 16 and a half games up on the New York Mets. The Mets are in 4th place in the NL East. I mean, we hate Mets fans. As a family standpoint, my dad and I literally cannot stand them. We've sat strategically Phillies Mets games. We strategically get seats behind the Mets dugout just to mess with the Mets fans. And I mean, it is just so awesome to see the Mets crumble and fall apart. And I mean, and how their owner is like, everything's going to be fine on Twitter. Like, it's just, if this was Philadelphia, this would be so unacceptable. But it's the Mets, and it is so funny, Dave.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And you know what? Beating the Mets, hopefully twice this weekend, would be absolutely beautiful. On the flip side, one defeat to this lot would be horrible because I cannot put up with gloating Mets fans in my backyard. It's not happening. Get out of town. I will be. I will not take a loss well. I'll be drinking heavily if that was to happen.
I mean, it is tough to go to a different country and win however many games you have to play. I mean, the Phillies have trouble all the time in Colorado. I don't know if there's an elevation difference in London or anything, but I mean, going to a different country, it's always difficult. It wasn't difficult for the Yankees and Red Sox a few years ago when they combined for 30-something runs, but it's not going to be. It may not be a sweep walk in this Phillies Mets series because it's not. As I said, it's not easy going across the world to play baseball.
It's not. It's the same as traveling to LA. In fact, the flight's a little bit shorter than Philly to LA. It's about 5.5 hours. But the good thing is both teams are going to go through it. Both teams are traveling. Because the Phillies do struggle when they go west, but that's usually because of the time difference. And like you said, it's not easy. But then the West Coast teams struggle when they come to Philly. The Padres are terrible when they come to Phillies. The Dodgers, we generally go quite well against the Dodgers when they come to Philly because, again, for any team on each coast having to go to the other coast, you usually find that they're going to struggle, especially with the time difference, which does make a hell of a difference. Trust me, from traveling from time zone to time zone, it hits you. It hits you hard. So the good thing is, though, the Phils will arrive on Thursday morning first thing. They'll have all of Thursday, all of Friday to sort of acclimatize. And then Saturday night when the game, they should be fine by the time Saturday night rolls around.
It's going to be an exciting weekend out in London, and maybe you'll see the Fanatic as one of the guards because they did a promo. As well. You said the entertainment out there. I mean, the Fanatic's going to have an absolute field day in London. Do people in London know about the Fanatic? Like, is he like a culture? Is he like a?
Well, if they don't, they're going to because he's going to be everywhere. He's going to be absolutely everywhere. He's going to, by the time this goes out, you probably would have seen he's going to be all over the London hotspots. The thing is, there's so many Philly and Mets fans out there. He won't not get recognized. And there will be a big gathering around him wherever he goes. But I can't wait to see him around all these London attractions and what the general people make of him. But it's going to be part of all the fun.
Yeah, and even if you don't know who the Fanatic is and you see this big fat green dude with this, not going to be like, what the hell is going on over there?
Exactly.
So you're going to have to gravitate to the Philly. I mean, maybe not Mr. and Mrs. Met, they're just baseball heads. You're like, oh,
I don't get the obsession with the
Fanatic. You have no clue.
It's like it's just a baseball head. Like, how can they be great mascots? What do they don't do it? There's nothing about them.
But something that is great is the Phillies going to London, hopefully sweeping the Mets, and the opportunity that has been presented with you. It's great to see a lot of hard work on your part finally paying off. So it's great to see.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on as we're going to wrap up our show now. UK Phillies, Dave, thank you very much for coming on. Where can people find your work and follow you?
It's pretty much UK Phillies across the board on Instagram, on Twitter, and then Facebook group as well. And the YouTube channel at UK Phillies TV, where you'll find all the vlogs and plenty of content coming up. I'm going to be recording the entire weekend, like a diary sort of thing. So for all those who haven't gone, you can sort of live the experience, live the craziness, the chaos, which is going to ensue. And if you have gone, for people to look back and see about a half an hour sort of vlog of the whole weekend, which I'm going to put up on the YouTube channel, along with plenty of YouTube shorts and clips and bits from on the whole weekend on social media as well. So it's going to be London series heavy from Wednesday, probably.
It sure will be. Well, Dave, thank you again for coming on. If you ever miss a live Philly Sports Hour, you can always watch it back on YouTube or listen on any podcast apps. We're also on all social media, so make sure to go follow over there. Follow Dave. Follow me as well. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this week's Philly Sports Hour. Weekend, Dave.
What's that, sorry?
Swing and a drive, left field. It's deep. It's gone. And it is gone. Yes. It is bedlam at the bank. Look at the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way back to me. His placement slammed up. And the doctor made a sensational play. It was front the bucket. They score! Mr. Moose Busted. Fires. Black and goal! Back again. He's got to be 10 and goes forward. He fumbles the football and be able to have it.